Right, I feel that every day in how supportive he's been. That man loves me so much. And, you know, look what we built. We've built a beautiful life and we have 2 healthy, beautiful children. He's also a fox.
You're ugly.
It's weird, right?
I get another lecture from you, I'm going to go crazy.
If you haven't noticed, my husband's very, very handsome.
It's so fake.
This can't be real.
I feel that.
What? Stop.
All of it is fake.
Oh, he's such a great partner.
It sucks.
Are you joking?
It's
This is
bad.
terrible.
You suck. You suck.
Talking nonsense. It's stupid.
Yeah, that's embarrassing.
Welcome back to Pop Flash, where the truth hits harder than royal drama. So, Meghan Markle thought she could win over hearts with a Tearful podcast appearance. But instead, she lit the internet on fire, and not in the way she hoped. The Duchess of Drama showed up on Jamie Kern Lima's new podcast, ready to bare her soul. She spoke about pain, growth, and the struggles of womanhood.
The beginning of that clip where she's like, oh my God, yeah. Oh, you know, it's like, it's so inauthentic.
But to the world, it's just, what has she been doing? Does she work? As opposed to, oh my gosh, I work so hard. And I appreciate what hard work looks like. I like working hard.
Her voice cracked. Her eyes glistened. Her tone turned raw and emotional. But something felt off. Something didn't sit right. Because while Meghan tried to present herself as vulnerable and open, viewers noticed something major. She wasn't actually crying. There were no tears, no watery eyes, just a perfectly timed pause, a deep breath, and what looked suspiciously like a performance. And it didn't take long for critics to call it out.
This is fake. She knows exactly when that happened. The eye search she's got going on there, that's forced and faked, as is the facial expression.
Social media erupted with comments like, she's acting again, and Meghan's crying without crying, Oscar-worthy. Within hours, hashtags like fake tears started trending. The performance didn't touch hearts, it raised eyebrows. And here's the kicker, the moment she broke down on the podcast, it just so happened to go viral, with perfect lighting, flawless makeup, and just enough emotion to spark a PR storm. Was it genuine, or was it just another carefully crafted Markle moment designed to reboot her image? According to rumors, this wasn't a moment of healing. It was a calculated move. And the public isn't buying it. And the backlash? It didn't stop at a few sarcastic tweets. People began analyzing the video frame by frame, watching her facial expressions, pausing at every sniffle, every breath.
You know, Meghan, how are you? And are you okay?
That's so kind. I am. I'm better than okay. How are you?
That smile's a little bit over the top. And that single shoulder shrug she has, that usually indicates that person isn't very confident with their answer or their statement.
And guess what they found? Number actual. Tears. Not a single drop rolled down her cheek. No smeared mascara, no puffy eyes, just a clean, polished face, and a well-timed tremble in her voice. Viewers were furious. Many accused Meghan of manipulating emotions to paint herself as a victim. Yet again, they argued that every cry was choreographed, every line rehearsed. It wasn't vulnerability, it was strategy. Some even compared the podcast clip to one of her infamous interviews, where critics say she used the same emotional voice trick to shift the narrative. According to them, it's Meghan's go-to move when she's losing public support.
And Meghan's accepting all these compliments. I know I'm great, aren't I?
Where's the tissue? One user asked. Where are the tears? If you're really crying, show us the proof. The court of public opinion didn't just doubt her story, they ripped it apart. And just like that, what could have been a powerful healing moment turned into another Markle meltdown, one that made headlines for all the wrong reasons. But the controversy didn't end with her fake crying accusations. It escalated when Meghan suddenly brought up her children, and critics weren't having it. Right when the heat was rising, Meghan shifted gears. She started talking about how all she does is for Archie and Lilibet, about how the pressure, the hatred, the constant scrutiny, it's all so much harder as a mother. Cue the sighs. Some listeners felt genuinely touched, but the majority, they weren't buying it at all.
And she also is pretending that she's crying. We zoomed in just to see. There isn't a tear in sight. Dan, look at this. I invite the viewers to take a close-up look at this. Where's the tear?
Comment sections lit up. She always pulls the motherhood card when things go south. One user wrote, "Classic Meghan. When in doubt, talk about the kids." According to rumors, insiders from the podcast studio even noticed the sudden pivot in tone. One reportedly said, "It felt like damage control in real time." Critics slammed her for using her children as shields, not to protect them, but to protect herself. She wants sympathy, not accountability. One viral comment read, "You can't cry victim and deflect every time you're criticized." Even tabloids jumped on it, calling her move manipulative and calculated, because to them, it wasn't about the kids, it was about dodging responsibility. Then came the moment that really blew the roof off. Meghan, the same person who branded herself as a fierce voice for women, as a proud feminist, suddenly got called out for something she didn't say. While she was busy preaching about empowerment and breaking barriers, the internet couldn't help but notice one glaring omission. She stayed completely silent on the abuse allegations swirling around some very powerful men, including people rumored to be in her own circle. Critics exploded, asking, where was Meghan's voice when it really mattered? The timing looked shady, the silence was loud, and the backlash, immediate.
You'll make yourself cry. Yeah. Oh, I can do that so well. Oh my god, it's crazy. They're like, Meghan, 1 tear, left eye, go. Give me 3 seconds.
According to rumors, even some of her own supporters were privately uncomfortable. She can talk for hours about being silenced, one critic posted. But when it comes to real victims of abuse, not a word. Social media didn't hold back. They accused Meghan of picking and choosing her activism based on what's convenient or beneficial to her brand. She's not silent, she's selective. One viral post read, that one line sparked thousands of shares. The double standards, the performative feminism, it all got exposed in real time. And once again, Meghan found herself at the center of a storm she may have tried to avoid, but couldn't escape. Just when Meghan thought she was stepping into her power, it all came crashing down. Her much-hyped Spotify deal, the one that was supposed to redefine her post-royal career, ended in a humiliating flop. Millions were poured into the project. A-listers were lined up. The press called it a game changer before the first episode even dropped. But what actually happened? The podcast tanked. The numbers were underwhelming. And worse, insiders say Spotify was deeply disappointed. According to rumors, execs behind closed doors felt Meghan just didn't deliver. One brutally honest source allegedly said she lacked authenticity. Ouch. Listeners complained that the show felt overly scripted, distant, and, ironically, completely disconnected from the kind of raw, real content that dominates the podcast world today. Instead of being groundbreaking, it felt corporate, safe, controlled, and Spotify had seen enough. The deal was quietly terminated early. No farewell episodes, no send-off, just gone. And when news of the cancellation broke, the headlines were savage. Meghan Markle dropped. Podcast fizzles out. One read. Critics pounced. What happened to the woman who was supposed to change the industry? They asked. The damage was done. And for Meghan, this wasn't just about a failed project. It was a reputational blow she couldn't afford. If Meghan thought the Spotify fallout was bad, what came next was worse. Netflix had once been their biggest backer. A jaw-dropping multi-million-dollar deal, a golden opportunity to turn their royal drama into streaming gold. But behind the scenes, tension was bubbling. Netflix insiders were reportedly growing frustrated, not just by missed deadlines, but by the quality of what was being delivered. Executives had expected prestige documentaries, captivating original series, maybe even award-winning specials. Instead, what they got was, well, a glorified royal sob story. Their docuseries made waves, but for all the wrong reasons. Critics called it self-indulgent, one-sided, and lacking substance. Audiences began tuning out halfway through. According to rumors, internal analytics showed massive drop-offs after the first few episodes. Worse, interest in Harry and Meghan was waning fast. The public seemed over it. And Netflix noticed. Their once-prized duo wasn't bringing in the numbers they'd hoped for. Sources say executives were quietly panicked, realizing the massive investment might not yield long-term returns. Some reportedly started calling the deal a vanity project gone stale. And behind closed doors, whispers began. Would Netflix be the next to cut ties? Because if there's one thing Hollywood hates more than bad PR, it's poor performance. And the Sussex brand was slipping hard. Once the darlings of Hollywood's progressive elite, now practically radioactive. Big names who once welcomed Harry and Meghan with open arms suddenly went quiet. No more star-studded selfies, no more red carpet shoutouts, just silence. According to rumors, even top-tier publicists began advising their celebrity clients to steer clear, because when your brand becomes controversial, so does anyone standing too close. And Meghan, she felt it. A-listers she once called friends stopped replying to texts. Major events she used to attend, invitations mysteriously dried up. One insider allegedly described it as a social cold shoulder, Hollywood style. No official statements, no public breakups, just quiet, calculated distance. And it wasn't just about public opinion, it was business. Studios didn't want controversy bleeding into their projects. Brands didn't want headlines that distracted from campaigns. Even activist circles, once the couple's stronghold, started walking away. Why? Because it became harder and harder to defend them. The accusations, the contradictions, the constant media circus. People who once supported the Sussexes now feared being dragged into the drama. Meghan's glitzy American fairy tale had taken a dark turn. And Hollywood, the very industry she dreamed of dominating, was showing her the door. Gently, quietly, but unmistakably. And just when it seemed like the dust was beginning to settle, the royal family pulled another move, one that sent shockwaves across both the UK and Hollywood. According to rumors swirling around Buckingham Palace, there's serious talk of updating the official line of succession. And here's the bombshell. This alleged update might exclude Harry and Meghan's children. Yes, Archie and Lilibet, the very symbols of a new, modern royal future, could be written out of the monarchy's most sacred list. Palace insiders haven't confirmed it yet, but multiple whispers suggest something big is brewing behind those royal walls. And if true, it's a monumental shift. Why now? Royal analysts say it's all about preserving the monarchy's image, untangling it from the chaos tied to the Sussex brand. Because to them, the firm isn't just a family, it's an institution. And institutions protect themselves. This potential change would be a clear message to Meghan and Harry. You stepped away. Now the door may be closing for good. For Meghan, this would be devastating, not just personally, but symbolically. It would erase any future hope of her children ever having a formal royal role. Gone, cut off, just like that. Meanwhile, King Charles has stayed silent, as usual. But silence from the crown often speaks volumes. And Meghan? Sources claim she's furious, distraught, even considering legal routes if such a move were to become official. But legal power stops where royal tradition begins. And once the crown decides, there's no appealing it. This saga isn't just about fame anymore, it's about legacy. And the battle over it is far from over.